Is it special? No. Is she special? Does she live up to her name? Well, she ain't perfect, I'll tell you that for a fact. There are definitely 3 issues, a couple of them reoccurring problems I've had to tackle. We shall get to that soon enough, but we have had our fun. She has pulled me out of a few tight spots now. We have bonded, we have grown tight. Even Lisa has taken to calling her by her name. I guess we have a 3-way agreement. We look out for her, she looks out for us, because 3 is a magic number. Is it still special after 25,000 miles and a couple of years down the road? So we've had a lot of adventures on this bike in 2 years. We got it for travelling, for going camping, on holiday. I didn't get this bike to ride around town or go to the pub on. We got this bike for what they're made for. It's a touring motorcycle. That's what we've got it for. Am I happy with it? Yes, I am happy with it. Let's get that out of the way. It's a big bike to get used to. I said this before. I've done another review on this bike, and it's a lot of bike to get used to, but it really is well balanced and it handles lovely. Surprisingly, the Road King Special is not that hard a bike to get used to. Considering how heavy it is, the whole size of the thing, within a few days I was really getting quite down with it. Saying that, if it had been set up the way it is now, I'd have fallen head over heels with it a lot quicker. I loved it quick enough, but after time I understood what it was capable of a lot more. Or maybe the motorcycle understood me more. I'm not sure what way round that works. Some people don't like the all black thing, and I get that. And one thing I've noticed about having this bike, there's certain people that love the chrome, like some of the Road King people don't really think it's a Road King, and that's fair enough, you know. But some people, it's too modern, you know, and yeah, it's modern. We live in 2025. You know, it's still not a modern bike. You know, there's more modern bikes. The GS people probably still think it's from the Ark. You know what I mean? Like it's just come. Noah's just dropped it off. When we was looking at buying this bike, I looked for a lot of reviews, and there are quite a lot of reviews online about this bike. I reckon 90% of the ones I watched were people doing a demo ride, going to a Harley dealers, riding around the block. Some of them confessed that it wasn't a review, it was just a demo ride, which is fair enough, but some of them actually called them reviews. The first 5 minutes of riding this bike, I hated it. There's a few reasons I hated it, but I really did. I just weren't sold on it at all, but I was prepared to hate this bike. You don't buy a motorcycle and it's just right for you straight away. I mean, there's probably some motorcycles somewhere that just worked out for someone, but I think most motorcycles, when you buy them, you've got to adjust a few things to get it ready for you, and this bike's no different. I knew so many people had said the handlebars were a nightmare, and Jesus, they were. I was like that. I drove out, I bought this used, it was a few months old. I drove out the guy's driveway like I was hang gliding, going down the road like this. I was like that. And anyway, I'm leaning forward. It was horrible. It was a horrible first experience, but people had warned me that was going to be the case, so I was ready for it. So yeah, I watched a few reviews, and there were definitely a couple of good ones out there, and people went on about how smooth the engine was, the new engine, the Milwaukee 8, which was new at the time. You know, I know it's been around a while now, but for me, coming from an Evo, God, it was smooth. What a smooth engine. And 25,000 miles later, it's still it's a banging engine. The torque, I don't really ever get used to it because it's always there. When you're on a motorway on this bike, it's just so lovely. I mean, we're 2 up most of the time. I reckon 95% of the riding, more, 98.7% of the riding I've done on this bike has been with Lisa on the back. All of our camping gear, our film gear, our cooking gear, tons of gear on this bike, and I'll tell you what, it just never complains. She is a dream. You know, we could be cruising along at like 80 mile an hour, obviously not in this country where you're not allowed to, like in the Wizard of Oz land where you're allowed to go 80 mile an hour. We were cruising along at 80, and I want to get by someone, and you just open up. You don't even have to drop a gear, open up, and it just sows by. And where it's a heavy bike, but it's so stable, it feels like a Cadillac. You just don't get blown around all the time like on a smaller bike. Where have you been, Ramona? I've been through the deep sand streets of El Rafio. I've been on the washboard gravel lanes of San Jose. I've been in the ice asphalt of a bleak English winter, the flash floods on the high roads of northern Spain. I've been under a heat wave of a Sicilian sun. I've been trudging through the wet deep mud of the dark forests of Norfolk. I've had more mountain roads than you've had hot dinners. I've lane split with the best of them in the city. I've been loaded up like a forsaken mule. I've rumbled the wet cobblestone streets of Granada, and every time, never moaned or grumbled. I got you there and I got you back again. I mean, we've been through burning hot days where I just felt the bike should have overheated, but maybe where it's air-cooled and oil-cooled assisted. And we've been in like 42, 43, and we've been dying, and you just kind of think, how is this bike still going on? But absolutely no dramas there whatsoever. We love the panniers. Like, we never had panniers on our old chopper, and like having the panniers, I don't know how do you ride a motorcycle without panniers now? Like, it's terrible. I've just got so into throwing gear in. I mean, especially for us where we do the filming. The brakes on this bike are amazing. They're Brembo, dual discs on the front, ABS. They've got this assisted braking as well. So I think what it is, don't quote me, I'm not a techie guy, but when you pull your front brake, if you're over a certain mile an hour, like 30 mile an hour, you pull your front brake, it adds 10% at the back as well, something like that. But either way, the brakes are amazing. The front and the back brake are just great. The one thing I will say is when you change pads, a shop done a service on the bike and they changed the brake pads, I expected them to put on the Harley brake pads. I didn't ask, so it's my fault, but they chose to put a cheaper set on because they were worried about the price of the Harley ones. They weren't as good, but I tell you what I noticed straight away, there's a little like ticking noise, and it was really bugging, especially where we do the videos. So the cheaper brake pads, and then someone, I don't know whether it's just a waffle that I got spun, but basically someone told me that they don't work with these brake discs. They make a funny noise anyway, they're too hard or whatever it was. But either way, don't put them cheap brake pads on. You're gonna just buy the Harley ones, of course you are. Them brake pads lasted like literally one trip, and I realised it ruined all our footage. I had this like clicking noise. It's like a kind of crickets in your ear, like drive you mad. Keep on top of the oil changes and the services. I do the engine oil every 5,000 miles. I do the primary and transmission every 7,000. At 20,000 I change the spark plugs. I'd read that because of a natural bowl shape where the spark plugs sit, water runs down from the gas tank and people have whipped them out and found them covered in rust. The thought of that gave me heebie-jeebies. So I was relieved to find the originals were still in great condition when I swapped them out. I changed them over anyway just for peace of mind. Now the bike is at 25k, I will check the wheel bearings before we head off for Morocco. If they need replacing, get that sorted before we embark on that trip. Preventative maintenance is what it's about. It don't matter so much if you're not going to be going too far, but I don't want to get caught out in the Sahara Desert, for example. I've had it serviced at the Harley dealers a couple of times, 2 different dealers. One I weren't so happy with, one I was happy with. They charged me a fortune, obviously, which is to be expected. And really, I think ever since then, I've done the oil myself a couple of times, and then my good friend Dow done it last time because my garage is full up with stuff and another bike, and I had no room to move. I always talk to my motorcycles. Once you get the bond, and it took a while at first, but even Lisa, like, we've been riding and travelling around on this bike. I hear her talking to the bike because we're just so overwhelmed with what it's coped with. That it's a special motorcycle. Is it special? It is special. It's earned its name. I thought it was a bit gimmicky calling something special, but it is a special bike. It's a special bike, especially, maybe it's just this one. Maybe there's not another one out there. Maybe it's just this one. Things we've changed. I will just quickly go over this because the bars, I mean, some people, obviously, everyone's different. Some people are just going to get on with the bog standard bars. I think most people don't though. I'm 5'11". If you're my height, you will not get on with the standard bars. Your length forward, You've got your arms out here. It's like you just swan diving into a road. It's hideous. These are the bars I wanted when we first got the bike. I couldn't afford them because basically it meant changing all the cables. So we did a quick swap. We bought road glide bars, which were a really great solution. I was happy with them, I was comfy. I still got a little shoulder niggle. The road glide bars have got way more pullback. They've got 5 inches more pullback than the standard bars that come with my bike. They are also 32 inches wide rather than 40 inches wide, which the standard ones that I got. I think I've heard from different people some of these bikes are coming with different standard bars because I've heard some different dimensions mentioned. So I don't know if that's true, but I don't think they're all coming with the same bars. The ones that come with mine were 40 inches wide, 2 inches pullback, 10 inches high. They were awful. What I've ended up with is just perfect for me, but they're not too wide. They're the perfect height, 14 for me. I'm just like kind of level with my shoulders. They're just amazing. So I'm just so happy with the bars. I'll never change the bars again. Oh, it looks cool to me. Obviously, we're all different. I love the way this looks. We've put a taller sissy bar on. We did have the sort of standard Harley one. It was on here when I bought the bike. I've got this taller one, which is fixed. So you can't just clip it on and off, but I don't mind that. Lisa's always on the back, so we want the sissy bar. The only downfall to this sissy bar, and I will point it out, it slightly slopes back. So when you put 2 bags on the back, the top bag pushes back a bit. That's a bit of a foul, really. And this rack as well, where it scoops up, I love the look of this rack. And it's great for 1 bag, but when you put 2 bags on, again, it pushes it back even further. So most people, I think, will only have 1 bag on the back, so it's probably not going to be a problem. We've taken to putting our bags on top of the panniers now. Our main big heavy bags, because we found when we were on tour we just had too much weight on the back, and when we were on mountain roads with really steep inclines, well, a couple of times we felt like we were going to flip over. We had just too much weight on the back. We had so much stuff. I'll go through this again. So I've bought these cheaper panniers. These are like Chinese panniers. And I'll tell you why I bought them, because I didn't want to wreck the Harley ones. The Harley ones I just literally put away. One, I quite like the look of these. They've not got the sort of, they've not got the stretch bit that the ones that come with this bike have got the stretch bit. So these are just more like your bog standard Road King, or your Road King, not bog standard, that's rude. Your Road King classic style, so a bit shorter. But I bought these, they were pretty cheap off the internet. And I bought these so I can wreck them, and I haven't got to be precious. I'm not very good at looking after things. And because we were going to be stacking bags on top of these, and we just strap them over, they've got all scratched on top. And I don't care. I would have cared about the other ones. But one thing I would say, if you buy any of these cheap Chinese copy things, I broke the key lock. The key snapped off in one after a month. The locks are absolutely crap. I don't care, because I just keep the stuff that I'm not worried about in this pannier. I might think of a way to fix that, put a little lock on it or something, but I wouldn't recommend buying them if they are what they are, but they serve a purpose for me because we strap the bags on. And when we strap the bags on now, it means all the weight's in the middle of the bike, it handles completely different. It handles amazing with the weight there. It's just like having a heavier person on the back rather than all that weight right on the back of the bike, tipping the balance off. So we have a tiny bag on the back, or my guitar goes on the back, which is all very light. And also with the bags on top of the panniers, Lisa's snug in the middle, you know? So that works out good. Let's go through a few things I've done to the bike. We've got these floorboards for Lisa. We've got the extended risers, so they're a little bit higher. I think it's like 1.75 inches higher. Lisa's quite short. She's only 5 foot. So this puts her knees a little bit higher, so she can kind of grip me a bit more with her knees, you know. It just makes for a better riding position for her. So these were actually the Harley ones. They were expensive. The floorboards, Harley wanted about 250 quid for a set. So I bought these cheaper ones. And as you can see, I got a cable tie around here. The rubber bit flew out. Luckily, I went back and found it, but that's what you get when you buy cheap stuff. I should learn, man, I should learn, but I couldn't afford the 250 quid. I bought a cheap rack once, and within like 6 months, the paint was all peeling off. So this is an actual Harley one. the paint doesn't come off of it. You know, I find anything I buy aftermarket, like cheap parts, they just break. You know, the Harley gear does seem to like hold up. So the seat's a Mustang. This is a wide tripper Mustang seat. I didn't mind the standard seat. Mine was comfy. This is better, but mine was comfy, but the pillion was just absolutely rubbish. It's non-existent. It kind of slopes down at the back and it was non-existent. When we bought the bike, it had these Vance and Hines slip-on exhausts on. They're pretty tame, and they're still pretty tame, but the one thing I've noticed over the 2 years and the 25,000 miles, they've got louder. It's definitely sounding better than when I got it. It's still nothing like my old Evo with its straight through pipes, but they definitely got a better sound over the years, over the 2 years. It's opened up, it's breathing better. I changed the air filter for one of the K&N washable ones. I put these Denali lights on, more for daytime visibility. I've got the sort of yellow ones. People just see us coming, they don't know what, they think we're a UFO, they're really bright. I only have them on like 10%, but if you ever do need to have them on full blast, you light up the world. It's like the end of the world situation. The headlights that come with these bikes, these are the day makers. I think they're fantastic. I've heard a couple of people say they weren't happy, but it's the brightest headlight I've ever had, except for the Denalis. The Denalis make it look like a candle. There are a couple of downsides to this bike. The first, this is important because this will happen if you've bought one of these bikes and it hasn't happened yet. It's going to happen. This little Road King badge here on the handlebar clamp, that flies off, and they charge you about 40 quid for one, and they just come off, especially if you put your bike in and they have to adjust something under there. Had some handlebars done. The minute I got on the motorway, that thing flew over my shoulder at sort of 70 mile an hour. Couldn't go back and get it because the lorry was behind me. So they did replace it once. Stupidly, I didn't kind of glue it on. So within a month, I lost it again. So I bought one and now I've got double-sided tape on it. But I Googled it and I couldn't believe there was just thousands of people saying they all lost theirs. And I think Harley have done it on purpose, and it's a way they get 50 quid out of us once a year to buy a new one. If yours hasn't come off, it will. So take it off and put some double-sided tape on it and look after that. That's one downside. The other one, come around by the forks. The other downside, and I've heard this, mine didn't go for ages. The first year it didn't go, but down here you can see all this chipping, and it's been touched in a bit because there were so many, both sides of the forks, these chips just appear. And it's really annoying, man, because it's such a nice bike. It doesn't bother me too much, but some people, I think they would be really, really bothered. But it's just chips, stone chips, and they're not too bad because I've touched them in, but normally there's like 40 chips there and on the other side. So I don't know what the deal. Maybe I mean, that's the thing with having a black bike. I suppose I would have left it raw metal. The original tyres lasted up to 20,000. I couldn't believe it, but yeah, they last a long while. But what I will say about the original tyres that come with these bikes is they're pretty rubbish. They're so hard that in the rain, they're awful. And I thought it was me the first time I was on the rain on this bike. And I don't know, to be honest, if I'd had more money, I would have just swapped them at the beginning. But the bike, it's cleared me out buying the bike, and I didn't have the money to do it, which is terrible saying that because your tyres are everything. But I kind of just was super careful in the wet. I mean, maybe in America you don't get it so much because I think we get all the rain. If we should dish the rain out evenly, but we don't, God don't. We get all the rain, you get all the sunshine. The original tyres in the wet are awful, and we had a couple of times, like, just felt like I was aquaplaning. So I've swapped them over to these Avon Cobra Chromes, and it is different altogether. Massively, massively different in the rain. But even in the dry, these are more fun. These tyres just grip, man. It makes the bike, the fun level just goes up. It's suddenly, you get so much more enjoyment out of the bike with the tyres swapped out. And it's not just me, I've read that over and over, people saying the same thing. So if you've got loads of money, buy one of these bikes, just get them to change tyres straight away, throw them away. Get Avon Cobra Chromes. that's it. Everything else, this bike has not let us down. This bike starts. I keep it on a battery tender, but this bike has started every time. It's never let us down. It's bomb proof. I mean, what we've put it through, a couple of times I've just looked back at the videos we've made and I thought, what am I doing? Why am I going through a flooded woods, or why am I in 10 inches deep sand, or why am I on a mountain in the tail end of a hurricane? And that's another thing, right? We don't have a windscreen. I don't need a windscreen. I've never wanted a windscreen. I don't like the look of windscreens. I don't ever feel like, you don't miss what you've never had. I've never had a windscreen. I've never ridden a bike with one, ever. Even if I'm going like 100 mile an hour, I don't feel like, it's just windy. It is what it is. It's windy. It don't bother me. I don't really get like neck ache or shoulder ache from the wind. But one thing I will say, if we had had a windscreen, if anyone who follows the channel, if you see us in that storm on the Pyrenees, if we'd had a windscreen, we'd be dead. We'd be over the cliff. We would never have been able to ride in that storm with a windscreen. But yeah, I don't have a windscreen. If I was going to have a windscreen, I think I would have bought a Road Glide, because I love the look of the Road Glide. I'm not massive on fairing. I think I do like the Road Glide fairing, and I think I would have bought that if I wanted a screen, you know? So yeah, we don't have a screen. It's a naked bike, but what is it good at? It's good at crossing countries, going miles. We are so comfy on this bike. Me and Lisa ride this bike all day long, and we can just cross the country with no drama, with all the power in the world. Big open motorways I'm not a motorway person, but motorways on this are bliss, especially in, you know, not so much in England because we're so busy here, but when we get out in Spain and France and Germany and you get on them motorways, and especially the ones in Spain, there's no one on them, and we just sow along. And this bike will just sow with both of us and all our gear and just cruise. It's a cruiser, and that's what it does. But I think the touring chassis is so comfortable. You know, I know, like, I've ridden Softails, and the Softail, you can't compare it to this. And the handling, the way this handles for a really heavy bike. I said on the first review it was nimble. And that was completely over the top. It's not a nimble bike, but it's nimble for how big it is. You get used to it so quick. Like, within a couple of days, I was really used to this bike. After riding it for 2 years, you know, I really am so used to it, and I really can throw it around now. And especially, I think, where we travel with so much luggage, when we take the luggage off, like today, riding it with just Lisa on the back, I don't even notice her on the back, and it feels so light after we do so much fully loaded. Riding it now like this, it's just like, I can't imagine going on a small bike again. But for the weight of it, it's phenomenal. You know, I mean, gravel roads, and obviously you've got to be a little bit more careful and stuff like that. And I know a lot of people with these bikes, Harleys in general, a lot of people would be like, I'd never go in the rain, and I would never go on a gravel, I wouldn't go on sand. And I think that's fine, because some people are so precious about stuff, and I'm just not like that. I'm always intrigued to go down a gravel road, or I'm just not. It's just a motorcycle for me, and it's a beautiful motorcycle. It's the best motorcycle I've ever had. It's more expensive. It's more than double the amount of money than any car we've ever owned. It was a lot of money for us, but at the same time, I'm still going to ride it. I'm still going to just do everything I want to do, because it's just a motorcycle, and I'm beaten up as a person. I've beat myself up all my life. You only got to look at me. I'm ragged, and my bike is always going to be ragged. It's going to have to put up with that. You know, that's just the way I live, and I will make Lisa ragged. Lisa's a little flower, but now she's into travelling on the motorcycle. She's going to, you know, within the next couple of years, you're going to look at her and she's going to be unrecognisable. She's going to be ragged and rough and scarred and bruised, and she'll probably like a zombie. And that's what this bike's going to get. It's got loads of scratches. I can't do any close-ups of the bike, because if I show you the close-ups of the bike, people are going to just hate me for all the chips and scratches all over it. There's so many scratches. I abuse it. I'm an abuser, and I've abused this bike. But she loves me for it, because it's good to be abused. So is it special? Yeah, it's special. It's special at going across countries. is special at just eating miles, two up, all your gear, getting the job done, getting you from one side of the country to the other. That's what it's special at. It's special at a lot of things, but that's where it's gold. That's where it's gold. It will get you across a country, you know. And I know some people will be like, it hasn't got a screen, it hasn't got fairing, and if that's what you like, then get a street glide or get a road glide, get an ultra, you know. But this, if you like naked bikes, that could get you across the country. That's your bike.